The next time you're outside, it's worth taking note that wildlife is a part of our lives. It can be uncovered dwelling on your next great adventure, or it can be brashly residing right in your own backyard. The species we live alongside are a product of the world we have created for them, a world enriched by agriculture, wilderness management, and even the footprints of urbanization. Over thousands of years of ecological interaction, creatures big and small have found a way to live alongside us through virtues of versatility, boldness, intelligence, in some cases, pure likability. Humans, unlike many other apex species in their environment, have found ways to use creative choice to manage their grounds and homesteads for particular species of interest they either enjoy and, in some cases, utilize for livelihood. This video exemplifies how beasts can live right under our noses, use our resources as humans for their survival, but almost go entirely undetected while doing so, to the oblivious. This hunt, in turn, is the pinnacle experience I've had as a hunter. For as many memories I've made pursuing game across the Commonwealth, there's one task which sparks my imagination and curiosity as much as it does a sense of nostalgia in my first days of field as a kid. A challenge that I have taken on, harvesting a deer on my own property where my deed has my name on it. It takes us on a 2-year journey to what I consider to be the most difficult and rewarding moment I've experienced as a hunter to date. Now, between off-season preparation, habitat management, and naturally occurring landscape changes, not to mention the highs and lows of the hunt itself, this chess match between man and beast will require more tactics, skills, patience, and landscape understanding than this channel has ever shown in any one video. The challenge of attracting, patterning, and outmaneuvering a mature whitetail on a property with my name on it will epitomize the synchronized ecology of our modern natural world, a world where man and nature live entirely together.
Yep.
Oh yeah, it is June 7th, 2024, and we're out here hanging some trail cameras all the while. Now, I've hung 4 cameras in a little bit of a different scenario than normal. So this property that I stand on right now is something that it historically has never been. It is mine. I own it. So my wife and I bought it, and we actually built our house on this little piece of property. But there's this real nice transitional depression that comes off some hay fields where the deer are feeding at night and have been for years, and then they come right up this ridge before they head back to bed on the other side of the property here. So we've got a couple cameras. We actually hung a couple different heights on different sides of the property, but this is where it starts. My goal is to shoot a deer off of the property that I own this year. And I want to celebrate that moment here on camera so I can share it with my wife, my daughter Nora, and the rest of my family as we kind of celebrate the fact that we're here. We own this piece of ground. We got a house that's built right back here through the woods about 200 yards from me. And I think it would be pretty dang cool to be able to say that I killed a deer on my own property. Now, one of the good things for us is they actually logged out this piece of property next to us here. So that's gonna get real thick, real brushy with primary successional plants, probably some invasives like multiflora rose and autumn olive. But at the end of the day, I'm not a big fan of that
invasive plant measures and how they kind of change the ecosystem up here, but they do provide really good deer bedding. So that's going to put the deer right on our doorstep here as they come over to this transitional site. So we're actually going to go head down this depression here. I actually planted some red pine and some Norway spruce down here, so I want to check on them and see how they're doing. And ultimately, we're just gonna keep scouting around. I gotta move some stuff into this new house here. I brought some crates and some, workshop equipment, but hey, this is how deer season starts. This 1-2 hour session of hanging cameras is gonna go a long way in helping us see what kind of wildlife that we have to work with here come archery season. So it's about 8:30 on the first sit of the year behind the house, and man, we've had a fun one. Holy cow, we've seen deer all freaking morning. I mean, our planning worked out perfectly. I had a deer. It was 10 to 6. It was too dark to see. I saw its silhouette. It walked right under me, and it bended around the top of this drainage, just like I kind of expected the deer to do. No idea what it was. And then about 8 o'clock, deer started making their way back up into the oat flat from open fields below. We had a doe with her button buck come in, kind of get our down scent, get spooky. We had that 3-point come back through, which I'm pretty sure was the same buck from this morning, because it literally retraced its steps coming back, and it went in and ate some acorns. Then we saw a couple other deer in the distance that we knew were feeding on acorn, but we never got real close to them. So the plan worked out perfectly. But moral of the story, sometimes you need some luck on top of preparation. And luck is when opportunity and preparation present themselves together. We saw a lot of deer today, and they did exactly what we expected to do, but no big buck. At least not yet. So we'll sit for another 20 minutes, and then we're gonna pack out of here. I'm actually gonna go to a parade with my wife and daughter, but encouraging first morning, very encouraging. This spot is a hub. I don't want to burn it out. Pretty cool, pretty cool. We'll try this evening and see if we can get any closer.
The first year hunting the property had its ups and downs, with a lot of deer activity documented, but no close encounters with a legitimate shooter buck. Now, there were plenty of opportunities to harvest does, but does are ultimately the most attractive factor to buck once the archery season starts to pick up, as the rut goes from October to November. So in our first year, buck activity was documented, but we were never really in the right place at the right time to catch one on the move. Now, it all worked out because I harvested an absolute toad of a whitetail on an adjacent farm that was my family's farm, but not my ground. But a pattern or two observed from the season was enough information to make us feel good about our chances moving into 2025. And what we learned was imperative in the success that you were about to watch.
Oh yeah,
we're back, and it is October 16th, 2025. So it's more than a year since the opening of this video. And I'm walking through the woods behind my house. Beautiful day, I just got home from work. But we actually were able to do what I thought at the beginning of this video was gonna be the impossible. And that is, we killed a heck of a buck here on this property owned by yours truly. And what I want to do is I want to kind of run through what happened, how it went down, and how the deer used this landscape and how we exploited it in order to get it done. So where I'm walking right now is I'm actually walking down a path right now that you may or may not see. This is a path that I actually weed-eated over the summer. And right here is the tree where I hunt out of my saddle. And on opening day, which was 2 weeks ago, more or less, I hunted out of that tree and shot a deer that you're gonna see happen here on camera, following a pattern that it took over a year to figure out, but we got it and we got it done. And I'm gonna show you how that works. But I wanna show you how the deer used this landscape in order to make this happen. So, first thing I want you to pay attention to, this trail camera right here, where the house is literally in the background. I am 100 yards from the house where this hunting spot was established. And what I did was I weed-eated a path up through the woods along this ridge that runs north to south on our property. And if you kind of look where I'm going here, I got a little witch hazel tree that the deer have been rubbing on, making scrapes underneath. Just a natural tree. Just kind of cut the path that I thought the deer would be using. And you can see that there is a drainage right here that these deer don't really want to walk through, but rather what they've been doing is they've been walking around this ridge all year round. Spring, summer, fall, winter. But what they do is they get to this pinch point and they like to travel at the top of this drainage as they move in and out of the property to feed on oaks, which there are a plentiful amount of on the south point. I have a resident population of does that kind of live on this south end. There's about 5 or 6 of them, and they've gotten very, very cozy with us living in this house. And those does, I have no motive to shoot whatsoever. It's not a huge population of them, but those does are gonna come into heat. And what I have found is that traveling this route at night, oaks, our backyard, and other places where the does might be hanging out, have been bucks that aren't residents of the property, but they've been coming in here to check out the prospects of breeding. So what I've figured out this year over the course of the summer, there wasn't a whole lot of buck activity back here on my ground. But as soon as middle of September hit and the bucks started to go hard-horned, produce testosterone, and think about breeding, I had bucks coming down through these woods every night and in the morning in order to look for those does and kind of scope out where they should be defending properties in order to get does to breed later in the year. And on this trail right here at the top of this drainage, going back into some clear-cut logged area on my neighbor's property, this trail I cut because I knew these deer would be moving at the top of this drainage because they don't want to cross that deep terrain drop, but they also don't want to go in the field that is to the north of my property and be exposed there. So these deer basically are bottlenecking into this tiny little segment of my ground, into the neighbor's ground. And those deer are exiting my property through there to go into that bedding stuff at first light. So that said, this pattern is something that I've been looking at as long as I've been living on this property. And what I've noticed in the last month or so is buck activity has ramped up as they come on this trail I'm walking on right now, looking for the prospects of does, as I've said. Well, around the middle of September, a very, very specific 8-point buck, nice 3.5-year-old, was spotted on my cameras coming through this path that I'm walking on right here, checking out all these oaks and the does that are feeding on them. And he have multiple days, every 3 or so days, he would exit my property through that pass.
Now, knowing this pattern and checking my trail cameras and seeing this, it made me realize that if I'm gonna hunt anywhere on the opening day of the season, it is in that stand at the top of that drainage, because that buck, if he's here at first light, is gonna move right through this path and up into that drainage in order to bed down for the day after checking all of these oaks and all this deer area where those does that he would breed were at. So what you're gonna see here in this little clip is the fruits of labor. I've been in here trying to enhance my property, minimum amount of infiltration in regards to what I actually do to the ground, but really just looking at how the deer have changed their behavior and are using my property since my family and I built our house and moved into this place. Because the deer is still here. Their food is here, their bedding is here, and everything they could want to exist here is plentiful. But figuring out how they change their behavior based off of our presence here was all the difference when it came to figuring out a way to get it done on a buck here. So that said, I want you to watch this clip. This is the opening day of season. This is like, I don't know, 10 days ago. The more I think about it, the more I'm kind of like emotional about how it all went down. This was a chess match between me, the property I live on, and the deer that I knew would be using this area. And it's just really cool to know that we figured this out and we were able to share this with our family on top of work schedules and family life. It just makes it all that much more rewarding. So enjoy this video. This is the one that I've been trying to create from the beginning, whether I realized it or not. It's the true epitome, as I mentioned, of man and nature coming together and harvesting a mature whitetail on my 10 acres of ground using environmental knowledge, know-how, and a little bit of intelligent design in my plan of attack. I can't wait to show you this footage of what all of those factors, when coming together synchronously, does for our prospects of being able to be an outdoors person with a life on top of it.
Yep. I shot a giant. Oh yeah, we're back. It is opening day of Archery 2025, and you're never gonna believe what just happened. So I'm sitting out here, it is 10 to 7. Shooting light has been here for probably 7 minutes. I cannot believe it. So this big 8-point that I've been watching coming off of this property, it came right up one of the trails that I had cut, and it was coming to check this scrape tree that I had down here, right below me, a little witch hazel. And this thing, I heard it come in this morning from the nursery behind me around 5 o'clock, and it must have went in and just checked all these does that were out here on the oak flat. And I mean, he just came right down the path. I could just see the giant crown. I was like, there's no doubt who that is. He's right here, 15 yards, turning broadside, just smoked him through the heart. He's laying 35 yards from my stand, 40 yards back there, and about 50 yards from my front door. I cannot believe this. This happened so fast. The shot should have been recorded, but it might have been dark. But unbelievable. We're gonna go walk down to this deer. All this work trying to kill a buck on our property. And we managed to finally make it happen. 2 years in the making. And it happened that fast on opening day. That's unfreaking real. So what I'm gonna do now, time is money. It's supposed to be 80 degrees a day. I'm gonna pack up my stuff. We'll walk down, check the buck out, go get my daughter and my wife, and come out here and check this buck out together and call this a conclusion to the fastest archery buck season under the sun.
We're gonna go check out this arrow and kind of figure out just what kind of shot we made. Do a real quick little track job, and we'll go take a look at him. Oh yeah, that's a heart shot if I've ever seen one. Yep. Oh, blue is hard out. That's like a rich red color blood there. You can't do much better than that. I had just spent 40 minutes in that tree. Honestly, just kind of reflecting on all the blessings that I have in my life to be able to do this in my backyard with these wild animals that, you know, divine powers put into our existence to be able to utilize and enjoy. And I don't think it's sunk in what I'm about to walk up on there. I hope it's kind of a little bit of imposter syndrome. He might not be nearly as big as I thought he was, but he's a legal buck. He's got at least 8 points. There's the stand right there. I mean, he's 15 yards from the base of the stand. It's amazing how things work out. All right, let's keep tracking. Holy frickin' cannoli. Yeah, he's... Oh yeah. He's plenty big enough. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That's a solid buck. Let's go. Right here on the property. Are you absolutely kidding me? Well, we done. That was the guy. Yeah, you could see a pretty good shot. Put it right into the shoulder there. Came right out the other side. Oh yeah. That's sweet. Nice buck. Nice buck indeed. Well, y'all, this was kind of the adventure that we've been trying for several years. We've done a lot of stuff. We've been in a lot of places, harvesting a lot of game, but to harvest a whitetail, mature buck,
probably 3-year-old, right on my own property, literally 80 yards from my front door. I'd like to think that this is a little bit of skill and planning in order to find a way to make the game that we pursue, these wildlife, be able to live more connected to where I'm at and the resources I have at my disposal. But at the end of the day, there's a little bit of luck too. But you're not gonna hear me complaining. Solid buck, opening day. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Captain Coleslaw outdoor experience. It's just a man and nature together.
Honor, guess what's in the woods?
Hi.
Dad got big buck.
The big book.
A real big buck. Do you want to go see it?
Yeah.
He's a big buck. Yeah, Dad got a big buck on our property.
You just horn.
Yeah, look at him. Yeah, you want to see him? Yeah. Not a bad one. You want to touch his horn? Yeah. On our own property.
You shoot that book.
Yeah.
It's a pretty nice buck, isn't he? Are you gonna get a big buck one day?
Yeah.
Yeah? Bigger than this one? Yeah?
I don't want.
You want a little one?
Yeah.
A little one. Show Mom. I want a little one. Show her. Look at her.
I don't want.
You just want a little one.